Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm deeply grateful to be here with leaders across numerous federal agencies as well as industry colleagues as we explore one of the most transformative technologies of our time, generative AI. But let me that I think illustrates why we are all here. Last year, a veteran spent 6 hours across multiple websites trying to understand their healthcare benefits. A senior citizen spent 3 weeks and made 4 phone calls for a simple Social Security issue. A small business owner waited months for permit approvals, thereby delaying their opening. And these are real-world examples and experience from Americans interacting with their government and exactly what generative AI can do to help us transform. Let me share with you a striking statistic. On average, federal employees spend 40% of their time on administrative tasks rather than their core mission. But even more telling, the average American spends countless of hours interacting with government services. Now, imagine if we could make every one of those interactions effortless, intuitive, and immediate. You know, the public sector stands at a pivotal moment, and Gen AI represents something really different. And it's not just automation, but a complete reimagining of that citizen experience. Now, let me paint a picture of what that looks like. Imagine a parent who needs to register their child's birth, apply for a Social Security number, understand the federal benefits. Instead of navigating multiple websites, across agencies, filling out redundant forms, interact with an AI-powered assistant. And that assistant can guide them through all the required processes in plain, simple language, pre-fills forms using existing government data, or provides real-time questions or answers to their questions. Proactively identifies benefits that they're eligible for, all in the support of their preferred language. Or consider a disaster response scenario. As a hurricane approaches, Gen AI systems could automatically personalize emergency communications based on that citizen's location, provide real-time updates about evacuation routes and shelter availability, answer questions 24/7 across multiple languages, or connect citizens with exact resources when they need them. We're already seeing exciting challenges and progress here, particularly with the Department of Homeland Security. And DHS has been at the forefront of Gen AI adoption, exploring how this technology can really transform the immigration experience. Imagine applying for citizenship and having a Gen AI assistant that can answer questions about your specific case in real time, explain complex immigration requirements using simple terms, or help prepare that documentation, provide updates on your application status, or reduce processing times while ensuring a thorough review. But the impact goes beyond just on those existing services. Gen AI enables us to create entirely new ways of engaging with citizens. Predictive outreach that helps citizens access benefits that they didn't even know that were available to them. Personalized education content about government services and processes. Real-time translation and cultural context for non-English speakers. Or adaptive interfaces that adjust to each citizen's digital literacy level. Or proactive problem resolution before problems escalate. These aren't just convenience improvements. They're really fundamental transformations in how citizens experience their government. And for many Americans, especially those that are in underserved communities, this could mean the difference between accessing crucial services or going without. Now, of course, realizing these benefits require careful and responsible implementation. And at Amazon Web Services, we believe in a thoughtful approach that prioritizes security and compliance first, ensuring that all AI solutions meet or exceed federal standards, transparency in AI decision-making, human oversight and governance, and privacy protection and that ethical use of data. Now, of course, realizing these benefits, so let me share a concrete example of what this really looks like in practice. We recently worked with a federal agency on everyone's favorite FOIA requests, Freedom of Information Act requests, and on implementing a Gen AI solution to redact that sensitive information. But crucially, it does this under human supervision. The result, a 60% reduction in processing time while maintaining 100% of human oversight in all redactions. This is the kind of responsible innovation that we need to champion, and it really doesn't stop there. Additional use cases that really hold a lot of promise include summarization of documents, legacy code transformation, analysis of unstructured data for insights, fraud detection, and the list goes on. So looking ahead, I see three key challenges that we must address together. First is workforce readiness, ensuring that federal employees and federal systems integrators have the skills and the training to effectively work alongside AI systems. Second, data quality and governance, maintaining the highest standards for the data that feeds into these systems. And lastly, cross-agency collaboration, sharing those best practices and lessons learned to accelerate responsible adoption. Now, we're already working with numerous federal agencies to address these challenges, and the partnership between industry and government is really crucial here. And I'm particularly excited about our next session, which is a fireside chat today with Chad Trejo, who's the Deputy CTO of USCIS. Well, we'll dive deeper into how DHS is leading the way in responsible AI adoption. And their experience in transforming the immigration experience offers valuable insights for all federal agencies. So in closing, I want to emphasize that this transformation isn't just about technology. It's about fundamentally rebuilding the relationship between citizens and their government. Every frustrating interaction, every confusing form, every long wait time erodes the public trust. And by leveraging Gen AI, we can restore that trust and truly create a government that works for everyone. So thank you very much for your time today, and I look forward to continuing this important discussion in our fireside chat. And Chad, if you can join me on the stage.
I'm going to need access to that FOIA redactor. Yeah. Sounds very important.
Where do my questions go?
There's got to be a hidden pocket in there somewhere.
There's got to be a hidden pocket. Oh, there they are. Oh. Hey, Chad, thanks for joining me today. So you're the Deputy CEO over at USCIS, and have really been exploring Gen AI for quite some time. How did you navigate your success with Gen AI in your pilot, the interview simulator, maintaining a strong security posture?
Yeah, good question. Well, it didn't start out pretty, I can tell you that. But with iterative development, that's kind of how it goes. The first two are either going to be really easy or really hard for people on the room. Being cloud native is really beneficial. So if you're going to build, taking advantage of being cloud native is wonderful. And then the other is having a really, really strong DevSecOps program. And I'm very lucky at USCIS. We have a great partnership with our CISO and our CISO community, and that allowed us to expedite our build significantly faster. Just given this new space that we're in, having that relationship is really pretty key. And then the other is strong leadership, and you've seen that with the secretary and CIO Hyson. They are leaning in. I love the AI framework that they've put out. It's very leaning forward, and it's allowing technologists like myself, to move the needle.
So strong ISV, SaaS, and OEM partners are really critical to the success of cloud-native solutions. And how would you say that evolves with AI's workloads?
I was thinking about this earlier. I'm a terrible golfer, like absolutely horrible, and I need new clubs. And I'm probably just going to go to a local shop, and if I'm lucky, I'll find a local pro that's going to maybe help fit me to my clubs, and that's the best I'm going to get. But if I play on the PGA Tour, which I would love to do, if there's any really strong coaches in the room, I'd take you up on helping me. But PGA Tour players, they work directly with the club manufacturers, right? And they have that relationship. They're not just being fit for clubs. The clubs are literally being built for them in partnership. So, I happen to like TaylorMade. I'm just going to throw a name. So those relationships are really beneficial, very much like working with your partners when it comes, especially to this new space of AI, right? Like the government, I'm lucky, I have a very strong team. We have very skilled, both federal and contract teams. But why wouldn't I take advantage of my cloud providers who are actually building the products that we want to leverage? And there are many to talk about. We are a multi-cloud shop, but I definitely find that that's a real benefit. And I would also say one of the things and lessons learned that we take advantage of regularly are well-architected reviews. We do have a strong presence in AWS, and those well-architected reviews are incredibly helpful. They help us look for things like how we mature our infrastructure and our delivery and our build pipelines so we can take advantage of AI, and especially generative AI, in the future.
So it's especially important, especially as architectures and technology. What would you say were some of your kind of, nothing works perfectly the first time. What would you say were some of those unexpected results?
Okay, the first it was funny for a minute, and I just saw it in the demo here. Imagine briefing out a simulator that's simulating incredible fear, and you see emojis in the response. That was just absolutely devastating. I was like, I had a heart attack. But that was before we've learned so much from our partners, with prompt engineering. And so, Ray, I would say that learning and understanding prompt engineering so that the response is expected, right? And that the desirable behaviors that you want to model to demonstrate become a lot cleaner. And that happened, that was very iterative over time. We also switched, and this was part of our pilot, is we switched cloud providers and we switched models. And we did that, I would say with mostly ease, being cloud native, going between two different cloud providers. Our providers are really great partners. But that I'll go back to prompt engineering. Keep in mind that your prompts for one cloud provider and one model are going to be, in some cases, significantly different when you move to another cloud provider and another model. If I could go back in time, I think that's a product that somebody should create. So if there's anybody out here who's in the creation space, like being able to take prompts from one model and migrate them to other models, that would be wonderful. So that one stands out. And kind of a fun one is, people are a lot harder on technology than they are on humans. So we had a lot of, when we demo this, I wish I could have brought, next time I'm bringing a demo. But people are a lot harder on the technology. So they'll try to trick the generative AI service, right? They'll really try to work it really hard. You would never walk in a room when you're training new employees and try to trick them, right? That's not the type of behavior that you would want, but people do that with technology because they're trying to understand the boundaries. They're trying to understand, how it works, how it's thinking, and we've built a lot of that into our product through that. But it was definitely a challenge at first, for sure.
So I talked about the mission now that you become a little bit more comfortable, you have a successful pilot, more hands-on with these models, how are you looking from the mission side? How is DHS looking using AI?
So first thing I would say, DHS has been great, forward leading. We are publishing all of our work in the AI use case inventory, and I would recommend checking it out because you can actually see we're not that different than any private corporation or any other government agency. We're looking for efficiencies, we're looking for automation, we're looking to automate processes, and I like to say we want to give our employees superpower skills, right? These enablers are wonderful. Because they can augment all of our staff who are struggling, regularly with the tasks. Like, I think about automation. We're digitizing records at a rate that we've never digitized records before. That's really great. It allows our officers to work remotely because we're all, challenged by that. But imagine if you had a generative AI service that could be helping you, like after those records are digitized, maybe taking a look and doing things like name harvesting and the data harvesting that comes out of those documents and having that prepped and ready for our staff. Those are the types of things that you'll see I would say we're all leaning into, and looking at leveraging generative AI for.
So we just mentioned last week.
The National Security Memorandum was released, and no agencies are still kind of implications of that. But how do you view the the initial thoughts on that NSM and on your projects moving forward?
Between that, I was thinking about getting a new tattoo, Executive Order 2410. I recommend that you review it. That's a really, really important order, and I would say that those work in partnership. When we started the pilot, of course, that didn't exist. And I really like this document. It is the blueprint for the AI Bill of Rights from the White House. I highly encourage people to read that. It is a very easy to read document, and it talks, I think I'm really glad that we use that because it seems like it's part of the foundation for the new order. Mm-hmm. But this is all, I think, previous conversation, we support citizens, non-citizens, benefit seekers, and we're an international operation. So we are always looking at how these orders will impact our work. We're in the business of reviewing executive orders and policies and then implementing them quickly. And I think that those documents in particular are really complementary to the types of projects that we're actively pursuing.
Awesome. So this question, we have a lot of federal agencies represented here, many that are just starting to kind of scratch the surface on AI. What's one piece of advice that you would give to them as they're kind of exploring this new world?
If you're a technologist in the room and you're creating these products, and this is going to be hard to hear probably, make sure you're bringing your policy and counsel teams in early. So the concept of fusion teams or horizontal delivery teams, add that layer in because you're going to need them. CRCL we have a very strong civil rights, civil liberties group in DHS, and they're very complementary. And they've been very beneficial from a policy perspective when you're looking at these projects. It's something that, when we moved to cloud, that wasn't something that we really had to think about. So this new tech adds that additional layer to projects that I think is going to be incredibly beneficial in delivery and moving, your pilots to production. If you're on the business side of the house, don't be afraid to ask. I think the last speaker said it best. Just start using the tech, and then look for ways that you can bring that into your environment and start to automate some of those more maybe inefficient processes that you see.
Yeah, fantastic. So policy and legal as you start. Well, thank you very much for your time this morning, and appreciate the partnership, and excited to see what you all are doing next. So
thanks.
If you all could please join me and give Chad a round of applause.
Thanks, appreciate it.